A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John chapter 20 verses 1 to 9. Passage taken from the Message version of the Bible. Early in the morning on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone was moved away from the entrance. She ran at once to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, breathlessly panting. "They took the Master from the tomb. We don't know where they have put him." Peter and the other disciple left immediately for the tomb. They ran neck and neck. The other disciple got to the tomb first, outrunning Peter. Stooping to look in, he saw the pieces of linen cloth lying there, but he didn't go in. Simon Peter arrived after him, entered the tomb, observed the linen clothes lying there, and the kerchief used to cover his head, not lying with the linen clothes, but separate, neatly folded by itself. Then the other disciple, the one who had gotten there first, went into the tomb, took one look at the evidence, and believed. No one yet knew from the scripture that he had to rise from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord. Reflections on the Gospel according to John chapter 20 verses 1 to 9. They said he was dead. They knew he was dead. They would say he would not rise again. And yet they watched. In the history of the world, only one tomb has ever had a rock rolled before it and a soldier guard set to watch it to prevent the dead man within from rising. That was the tomb of Christ on the evening of the Friday called Good. What spectacle could be more ridiculous than armed soldiers keeping their eyes on a corpse? But sentinels were set, lest the dead walk, the silent speak, and the pierced heart quicken to the throb of life. Thus goes the resurrection narration by Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen. On that first Easter morning, when Mary Magdalen arrived at the tomb and found it empty, the truth was, it was not really empty. It contained people and things that were not supposed to be there. The angels, two men, light, linen clothes, and napkin. The tomb was expected to contain only one thing, the body of Jesus, and that was missing. On this Easter event, it is important to recall the birth of Jesus in parentheses. Remember, at the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem, it was announced to two groups of people, to the poor shepherd peasants as well as to the governor's palace. While the angel announced it to the shepherds, the wise men from the east had gone to the palace and announced the birth of a king. The first group went and worshipped him. The latter attempted to kill him. Something similar happens in his resurrection. For the soldiers who were assigned to guard the tomb, it was a matter of bewilderment. In fact, they were the only witnesses of the actual event of the resurrection, and indeed, they became the first messengers of the resurrection. They reported the incident back to the authorities, that they have lost the game. Like Herod, who tried to kill the newborn king, the religious authorities attempted a damage control. The body of Jesus was gone, but the wrappings that were around Jesus' body were neatly folded and placed. We should also pay attention on the amount of running that occurs on that morning. Mary ran to Simon Peter and the other disciple. Then Peter and the other disciple, on their way to the tomb, tried to outrun each other. The resurrection story repeats. Message of victory of life and defeat of death is given to the whole world. But as it happened in the time of Jesus, some have placed their faith and trust in the resurrection while others continue with their attempts to bury the truth. To which of these groups do I belong? Does the resurrection compel me to proclaim the risen Lord as the apostles and Mary Magdalene did?